Can we have some backbenchers move ahead? आगे से aim बढ़िया लगता है, squishy का. So can we have some of you backbenchers occupy? And you know, it always makes a better picture when you see the house full. So for our speakers, it always helps. Thank you, thank you. नहीं वो तो उसमें आने वाला था. इसके लिए. Hi. Not so much love, yaar. So are we ready? I'm asking the Janta standing there. Are we ready? All the fans of the great Mahesh Murthy, are we ready? Fantastic. So thanks Alvesh, Manisha and Sanket for joining us here. It'll be great if you make a quick, one-line introduction about what you do, and then we'll dive into the context of the theme. Sanket, starting with you. If you could just use the mic.
Hi guys. क्या नया है तो ऐसा होता है तो anyway. So I'm Sanket. I started Massblurb around 2 years back. और 2 साल में fortunately around 45 days back we exited. We gave some cash returns to investors. We made some money too. And now हाँ मतलब अगर कैश दोगे इन्वेस्टर को तो बॉल तो मिलेंगे ही. ठीक है चलो. So now we are a part of Mobikon. Of course.
You know, this is unprecedented.
अरे भाई next starter में
No speaker has got this on the introduction. मतलब क्या पैसा वैसा खिलाया है, क्या हुआ है?
हाँ मतलब मैं भी वही
सिर्फ इन्वेस्टर को पैसा दिया है या ऑडियंस को भी?
नहीं उनको इन्वेस्ट करने दूंगा next time. So anyway, so we were a B2B SaaS marketing automation platform for restaurants. And again we joined another larger B2B SaaS automation company. Anyway.
It's like I'm done.
I don't want any more balls. Hi, this is Manisha. I'm the co-founder of Loginext and I lead the technology and product there. So basically, we started around 2 years back and we are into optimization and big data analytics for logistics. We'll speak more about profits as we go ahead in the session.
You know, I'm loving the energy. बट वो सारे जो पीछे से बॉल फेंक रहे जिनका एम नहीं लग रहा है आगे आ जाओ यार.
लाविन एनर्जी नहीं है खुन्नस है. ये सुबह से बोर कर रहे हैं उनको बिठा के.
ये काफी बोर हो चुके हैं. कुमार क्या किया इनके साथ?
My name is Alvesh. I run a small software company called WebEngage. We're based out of Bombay.
WebEngage पे ही बॉल पड़ रहे हैं मतलब.
No, I'm done.
Hey, so we've been talking throughout the day about building sustainable businesses. You know, that's been the theme of SmashUp. And this particular session, I think the idea is to touch upon the theme and also talk about profitability. You know, in the last couple of years, there have been very few rare occurrences of companies coming out and talking about profitability, which has now become, an emerging fad. And I hope it stays, it doesn't remain a fad. So I want to understand so this is B2B company, Alvesh, B2B Manisha, and B2B. But you also have a consumer-facing segment, right, in Massblurb? You don't, it's a pure B2B. Okay, fantastic. So when did profitability as a term matter to you from the point you started business? When did you start thinking about it?
So it was simple यार कि मतलब जब सैलरी ले रहे थे उसकी 25% हो गई तब पता चला प्रॉफिटेबल बनाना पड़ेगा नहीं तो घर कैसे चलेगा. So that is when it occurred to us कि हाँ यार we have only this much money in the bank. Let's make this proper धंधा. Let's be sane enough and let's get our salaries back on track. So
salary went to 25% of what you were drawing.
Yes.
Were you drawing like a fantastic, significant amount? Sorry.
So, that is what happened. Typically, it's a fact that Pankit is my co-founder, we were sitting in the room and we said that we have to save money. There were different steps we took. The first step was typically making sure that cut down as much expenses as possible. So Pankit actually went back to coding and I said that, I'll take over the other parts. So there was a small layoff of around 3-4 people. We found all of them jobs anyway. But Of course. Thanks to her for that, right? They hired 2 people anyway. So उसका पैसा लेना बाकी है मुझे, but ठीक है. So that is what happened. And then some fantastic things happened, right? After that, our average ticket sizes per client used to be $3,000. Today it is 9,000, around 8,500 overall. And from January to this month today, it might be around 12,500. So we changed the dynamics and we said that let's fight it out and let's do it the right way. Let's focus on the core metrics and not about capturing the market and all the other BS that a lot of people did. Fortunately, we had a good mentor who drove sense into us, and that is what happened.
So all this thinking started happening once you hit your salary number?
Yes, that is when it happened.
Yeah, wait.
तो यार
Different triggers for different people. I mean, यार, बनता है.
मतलब हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, कम है, तो दारू सुट्टे का खर्चा निकलना चाहिए. वो निकलना बंद हो गया था, तो हमने बोला कि अब कुछ करना पड़ेगा.
बिल्कुल दिल से. So Alvesh, Manisha, your story when you started and how many months into operations did you start thinking कि अब profitable होना है?
So I would say, if you would have asked me this question 2 years back, I would really shy away from saying that we were really very conservative from day one. हम लोग जब ऐसे B2C companies को देखते थे यार 20-20 million, 30-30 million and ऐसे 20-20 लाख, 50-50 लाख की salary दो, we used to be like, and Pankit, myself, Sanket, हम लोग सब वही discuss करते थे यार ये लोग करते क्या हैं, कहाँ से इतनी salaries afford
यार seriously, I asked a question to one of the speakers यार, he said revenue तो बाद में आएगा, तो I asked him यार how do you build that business यार, मतलब you don't talk about revenue.
Exactly, and especially when you are, enterprise sales company. So we are into logistics and we sell to enterprises. Enterprises, में the first thing that comes to your mind is revenue, and the cost of customer acquisition for us is really very less. और उसमें what we did is initially we were giving pilots for free. So जो भी कंपनी है चलो 3-3 महीने के लिए ट्रायल कर दो and यूज़ करके देखो. उसमें बहुत कंपनीज ने आके ट्राई भी किया, चलो यूज़ करके खुद बनाते हैं, but that didn't work out. And then now what we did is, from last I would say 3-4 quarters, even the pilots are paid because now the product is mature, the product is ready to go to the market, to all the enterprises, and that's when we started paid pilots as well. So that's when we realized in last 4 quarters that now it's the time to spend less on customer acquisition and always more on technology and research and creating a futuristic tech which can actually increase your unit economics rather than just spend on customer acquisition.
But I'm repeating my question once again. When did you start thinking of profits?
6 to 7 quarters back, I would say. That was 3 quarters after we started. Because that's when for first 2 quarters, we were heads down on building the product.
Okay. So I'll come back to you on that. Avlesh, what's your story like?
So slightly different perspective, but I don't think even today we think of profitability. Devil's advocate है थोड़ा anti session भी है, but we don't think of profitability, not even today. Not even today. And I think largely it depends on companies, their ethos, and the market that you're potentially going after. We've done our small change from being a long tail SMB based tool to a more enterprisey tool now, and there is a different way of acquiring customers, so on and so forth. So a lot of different things have come up, but I think profitability to me thoda overstated hai. It doesn't matter. See, right? If you're doing a $10,000 monthly recurring revenue being a SaaS business, nobody cares if you're profitable or not. Even your mama doesn't care, to be very honest. If you're a business which is $100,000 in monthly recurring revenue, believe me, except for you, your founders, and a few people in your team, and some of your customers, again, nobody else cares. Whether you make money or you lose money, it's not going to make a difference. You get to $1 million in monthly recurring revenue, you probably are in the league of making a business. You get to $10 million in monthly recurring revenue, and then, it doesn't matter whether you make money or not. Because even if you don't, and you make a $10 million revenue top line, there will be enough private equity funds all over the globe trying to come in and figure out the inefficiencies in your business business, give you enough money to hide your own garbage and make profit over a period of time. So making profit is easy. Believe me, it's easy. It's hard. A lot of people think making profit is cutting cost, and I am against that thesis. It's not about firing 2 employees and becoming profitable. To me, that's not profitability. That's just hiding your black ass and just coming out smarter out of the whole thing. You become profitable just by making more money from the customer. A lot of companies, I come across, people say, there is a company that I know, very good friend of mine, their customer acquisition cost, it's an Indian company, by the way. Today, it's a mid-market enterprise company. Their customer acquisition cost is roughly around $10,000. How many people in this room skipped a heartbeat?
That's 7 lakh rupees.
$10,000, yeah. No, not 10 lakh, but yeah. 7, 8 lakhs, whatever that be, right? 6.5, 7 lakhs. So that's their customer acquisition cost. Well, how many of you in this room know what is a payback period?
Sikha do, sir.
Those who do, yeah, somebody already said it. How much time? Some measure it in terms of months, some measure it differently. But basically, how long does it take for you to recover the customer acquisition cost from the customer that you just got on board? Their payback period is 1 month. Again, skip the heartbeat. Yeah. For most people in SaaS, for us it's roughly 11 months right now. And your ideal thing in SaaS is 7 to 8 months of payback period. You would love to build a great business when you have 7 to 8 months of payback period in SaaS. This guy had 1 month. It's an amazing business. I would go ahead and spend $20,000 to acquire a customer. It doesn't matter. So a lot of those perspectives have to be put in, which is the only thought that I wanted to build in this panel and amongst you guys, those whoever are running companies. Profitability is cool, it's super awesome, but unless you have built a business of scale, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter whether you're profitable or not. Thankfully for us, we've been profitable for 2 years. It's always been in hindsight. I don't think it was all planned and we worked towards it. It just happened. Yeah.
So speaking of perspective, I think there is merit in exploring 2 pillars which define perspective. One is what stage you are, and second is what ambition you have, right? So for a lot of people, $10,000 may not make a big sense in terms of monthly recurring revenue, but a lot of Lala companies, that's phenomenal revenue also, right? So it depends on what scale you want to operate, what's your ambition as
wrote on this.
Yeah.
दारू सुट्टे का खर्चा निकलना चाहिए.
And I think different stages, like somebody is chasing a mid-market clientele, $100, $200 a month kind of SaaS products versus somebody who's doing enterprise sales. I think the perspective changes completely what you're chasing. How did you go through this cycle, Sanket, when you were, I think your ticket size was what, about 5,000 rupees average? 3 to, I think it doubled or tripled, right, in the last, like you mentioned.
Yes. So, I mean,
how many such paying customers you need to be at a scale where, which is Avlesh's ambition in that sense, if I could put,
So, correct, I mean.
Dollar product, average, $100, $150 product.
Correct. So, I mean, of course, like, what Avlesh said was, it was very true. No one would care. I think it's also very different from companies to companies. We were in restaurant segment. The target addressable market is pretty less. Of course, the money in the bank was also pretty less, and we had to be careful. So, I mean, beyond a point, my goal was to make sure, mine and Pankit's, right, to make sure we don't die. If you don't die, I think, you can do whatever it would take. And even though profitability might not, might be overrated, however, it's important when you're not able to raise money. And we didn't even talk to VCs because we ourselves did not want to raise money before fixing, what was screwed. So, I mean, it's just a perspective, but typically we said, can we go out, triple our ticket sizes? Does the business start making sense? Yes. Are the unit economics good? Yes. In fact, we always made sure that our COGS were below 30%, actually around 28%. And we also count support in our COGS, just to put things in perspective. And we just made few rules to follow no matter what. And it fixed.
Any point in your journey, did you sort of go through that emotion कि चलो यार ये सब figure कर लिया, but ये $100, $150 में बेच के ये जा के कहाँ जाएगा? did you go through that emotion anytime?
Of course,
What kind of
everyone.
scale can I get?
Of course, everyone does that, right? Everyone does that. We thought slightly short term than 4 years. We also thought about 4 years, right? So the goal was in the next 1 year. Right now we are at 100 customers. Can we get to around 450 customers, all paying us monthly, an average ticket size of this? We knew that if we get there, we would hit all the targets. We had to keep the company supremely profitable and also make sure that we can be scalable over a period of time. And if someone could put money, the model was scalable across the world. So we had those numbers and we always kept an eye on that particular number. So currently we were at around 330, 100% paying customers, paying us a certain amount. But we did focus on, these are cost, this is what can be done. This should be the average ticket size. How can we get to average ticket size? It's a component of sales as well as client success and as well as churn. So your churn cannot go up. It can go up if you're charging a lot. So we just kept focusing on these 3 metrics. And I think month over month, we hit all the targets. In fact, in the last 3 months, our revenue has gone up by 33%.
Okay.
So it was just through some network effects, eventually. But
Awesome. And you've exited your company right now?
yes, correct.
This was how many months?
So we exited around, so we signed the term sheet 2 months back. We joined them around 30 days back.
Do you think it's a successful exit for you?
Yes. So I mean, it's there was a discussion on Twitter very recently with Anand Jain and Kunal Shah and stuff, right? So it's all money is always a moving target. You can not ever be satisfied. It was always about solving the problem. It was not about money. It was always that money will come if you solve the right problems. So am I happy? Yes. Could I be happier? Yes. I mean.
Oh, that is greed, of course. We're all greedy, right? In
So,
general.
but,
Ye dil mange more.
Yeah,
But
always.
what made you think it was a successful exit for you? What was the benchmark that you were?
So my goal always was very simple, right? Your company is your baby. You have to serve them first, right? Like what people say, right? You will always be fed first before your parents. If you don't have enough money, it should be like that. Now, baby had a part of investors. I think why we are successful is primarily because we gave a cash exit of 43% IRR to all the investors. And that's my goal. People who paid me, could I pay them back? Could I pay them a decent sum? The answer was yes, it happened. And that is why it's successful.
Fantastic. I think we heard that from Ronnie in the morning as well. It's very important end of the day to be a profitable and an exitable business because it's a moral and fiduciary responsibility to give back to our investors, right? Manisha, what's your, sorry.
I have just one point before that, right? Dhanda hota hai. Dhande mein unit economics theek hona chahiye. A. Now at what scale do you get profitable depends on your target market. But एंड में धंधा है अगर मतलब तुम पागलों की तरह 10 रुपए का जो है उसको 2 रुपए में बेचोगे तो तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं होना है कितना भी वेंचर कैपिटल रेज कर लो यू कैन गेट अ ग्रेटिफिकेशन यू कैन गेट अ सीट हियर एट TiE SmashUp बट बैंक बैलेंस का जो पुश नोटिफिकेशन है सुबह का वो
That's not why I've given you a seat, huh? That's not why we've given you a seat.
No, I'm just kidding, yaar. So I was talking generally about gratification.
I took offense, huh?
I can take liberty with him, yaar. He's probably like 2 pegs down, so sorry.
Insider story.
So Manisha, what's your story like? I mean, with respect to what's your average ticket size like? Just continuing the same line of thought.
The average ticket size for us goes anything from 1 lakh to 10 lakh. Like the minimum is 1 lakh and the max is 10. Currently, what we are focusing at is so the metrics that we follow is two things. One is the number of clients that we are capturing and the kind of load at which they are using the product. So for us, this is really very important to penetrate the product into 100% of their load. Because if you see logistics is again, it's like regional, it's based on zones and etc. So they start with 20% of the load and then they go into 100% of the load.
Right.
So for us, acquiring more number of clients is important, but more important is also to, penetrate into that load.
Okay. Alvesh, I think I've followed the WebEngage story. Earlier you were in the few $100s market and now you are pure, I think, more in the enterprise segment. So big shift. This has been what, 6 years? More? And so how were you looking at, your metrics back then with the $100 to $300 ticket, and now what's the ticket size, if you don't mind sharing? Yeah.
It's a range, but the entry prices are somewhere around $10,000 now annual.
Okay.
I'd often use dollars because that's the target audience. But I think, see, who we used to sell to, and who, meaning you always define those people in organizations that you sell to. And more often than not, you go wrong, especially in early stages, you just don't know who you want to sell to. Primarily, we were selling to very niche specialists trying to do this thing called CRO, those who are familiar with the term. It's called conversion rate optimization, which essentially is, if you're an e-commerce site, you have 4% conversion rate, meaning 100 people came to the site, 4 baht. If you could improve it to 5%, there's a significant improvement in the bottom line. And that technique is called CRO, which encompasses a lot of things, from marketing to support to things like live chat and customer experience and so on and so forth. We used to play in that category. And I think that business was a business of scale, immense scale. So back in those days, this is roughly 7-8 months ago, we had 35,000 installations on different kinds of sites and apps, and used to be free distribution, freemium distribution. So a few thousand paying customers and rest of them being freeloaders. And we used to make money in that kind of ticket size that you just explained. That business is very interesting because, any day we would get 100 signups a day kinds. On bad days, 70, 80 signups. Terrible days, 50, 60 signups. Total signups, of which most were free and some were paid. And technically, to do that, you actually didn't have to do anything. You could just be focused on building good customer experience, a bit of content marketing, no spends on any kind of paid marketing, and it still works, right? But if you do the maths, which we did 4 years into it, 3.5, 4 years into it, at best it was a good business that could have scaled to, let's say, $10 million in annualized revenue. By the way, that too wasn't easy. We would have had our own set of struggles to get there, but we could have built a $10 million annualized revenue business easily over the next few years. Wasn't good enough, right? So that's the call that you as founders take.
So when did you realize it wasn't good enough? I think when you started, of course.
I think the ambitions were very high from the very entry point, that we wanted to make a very significant size business, right? So aspirations, look in the West, we looked at survey companies, which is a large part of our business back in those days. Look at Qualtrics, look at SurveyMonkey, look at any other marketing automation company, right? Look at Marketo post their IPO, they're $250 million in annualized revenue. SurveyMonkey does $150 million, Qualtrics is easily around $110, $120 million annualized revenue. All these guys have taken a long time to get there, right? But the fact is that they became valuable. The only reason why all of us know about them is because they attained that scale. If you think SurveyMonkey business, it's a very messy business. There's so many freeloaders. How many people in this room have used SurveyMonkey? Quite a few. How many people ever paid for it? Yeah. Look at this, right? So that's the only guy. We have a survey product also. I'll come back to you. You're the only one India is going after. Nobody pays. But yeah, monetizing that business at scale is a very difficult problem to solve, which almost needs you to be omnipresent. Today, you think surveys and you think SurveyMonkey, right? You think email marketing, you think Marketo. You think content marketing, or you think any other drip marketing, you think HubSpot. Building a business of that stature consumes a lot of capital. It needs ubiquity, right? You have to be there. Everybody has to use you. It's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard, right? Without capital. So either you're flush with capital and you keep investing into your distribution and build a very amazing customer experience. People like SurveyMonkey, Bofu, all these guys have done that over and over. It's almost impossible to do it with little capital. With little capital, what you're left with is go up market and build an enterprise business, which is where you don't have to focus on getting in thousands of people. You can get a few, and as Manisha highlighted, you can go deeper into each one of them. So instead of making 1 rupee from 10 customers, you try and make 10 rupee from one, and if possible, you try and actually make 100 rupee from one guy. makes enterprise business slightly more lucrative. It's harder, by the way, because getting that one guy is incredibly hard. It's almost next to impossible. Thank you. Keep it back. Get a customer. Yeah. So I think the larger shift in our direction happened when the realization, when the self-realization around the possible outcome started happening. It's like, what are we building? We set out to create a $100 million business, right? 100 million revenue opportunity. Now, this doesn't seem to be going there. We can invest the next 3-4 years of our life into this. But the best shot, if you do the realistic numbers, is probably 10 to $15 million, right? Which is not, not even close. Had it been 50 plus, you would have still said, settle halfway and maybe it's okay. Let's give this a shot and see if we can make it 75, 80. But if it is, in my own estimation, in my own pessimist or optimistic estimation, is running into 10 to $15 million of business by investing another 2-3 years, then that's not the best use of my time. And I would want to just, find something which is worth more. And more is again subjective. For everybody, it's different. But knowing what's more for me, I knew that, okay, this is the route we're taking. Now, we don't do hundreds of signups every day. We do few. But yeah, from every single guy who signs up, we make a lot more than what we used to earlier. So that changes everything. That changes how we think. That changes everything around our notions around cost, customers, acquisition cost, payback periods, and profitability. A lot of things get realigned, right? How we think about it. In the earlier avatar, it was pretty much on autopilot. Now it's not. There is a push towards it. So things change, and this was very recent. This was 6 months ago or so. Those who have been keeping tab on the company, we've done this whole 360-degree change in terms of building a full-fledged marketing automation suite now. So from earlier avatar to now, there's a complete shift in focus, as well as what we're doing, both in terms of revenue, profitability, and everything else. Yeah.
So Avlesh, one very basic question I'd like to ask. This is something I was asked when one of my previous startups, one of my co-founders, when we were doing the equity discussion, he asked me, Lavin, what is your, so he said, how do we decide the number? And he said, what's your pot of gold, right? What is it that you want to make out of this business? And kasam se koi idea nahi thi, right? We said we want to build a big business, but we had no idea. So I hear you say this 100 million number several times, right? And I'm sure now you are very seasoned, but back in the day when you left Burp and started your company, I'm sure you weren't even thinking dollars. Tabhi to the crore number would have been very desi, ambition that you have. You don't even think dollars.
I'll tell you a small story. My co-founder, his name is Sanket. You wouldn't find him anywhere. Yeah, it's as non-internet as it gets.
Is he a bot?
He's as close to as a bot. Uske family album mein bhi uska photo nahi hai. So that's the guy I'm talking about. So he's we have known each other from Burp days. तो हमने जब शुरू किया था WebEngage और धीरे-धीरे we started making money. We tasted money very early in WebEngage game, very very early. So the first paying customer, this was Make My Trip. This is, I'm talking about 3.5 years ago now. Make My Trip tha, and we made decent money from them. Boosted a lot of confidence कि हम तो किसी को भी बेच सकते हैं अब. And so it happened. We actually sold to Make My Trip, Yatra, Home Shop, Snapdeal. All this happened in the matter of next 2-3 months. And we felt quite good about it. So one fine day, somebody was trying to make a pitch. No, nobody looks at their accounts. The guy was right. I never looked at accounts because it didn't matter. It's like whatever, peanuts plus peanuts is more peanuts. So it's it's not going to make a difference. What am I going to look the account for? But after we got like this 10, 12 guys, slightly enterprising, and we had a few long tail guys paying us online. Started looking at numbers a bit more seriously, and I go to Ankit one of these days. I remember that day in the morning, I showed up before him, and I was ready with the numbers. I told him, how much we made last month? He said, no idea. I said, make a guess. So he said, 2.5 lakhs. I said, 5 lakhs. And we were 3 people, right? So it was me, Ankit, and Manisha was the other guy. He is a VP engineering now. 3 people. छोटा सा घटिया सा office, and all costs put together was roughly 2.5 lakh rupees, and we were making 5 lakh rupees in that month. And I was happy because we made 5 lakh rupees, right? In a business, making 5 lakh rupees makes you feel good. And of course, I didn't dream of $100 million back then. To which Ankit said, I clearly remember that day, he said, yaar, तो 2.5 लाख हमारा कॉस्ट है. डेवलपर्स ऐड करने थे अपने को उस समय बहुत really बैड. ऐसे एक 2-3 बंदे हायर भी कर लिए. Whatever, right? ऐसे fucking killing it. We already have pipeline. ये 5 लाख और हो जाएगा, 10 लाख होएगा, सेट हो जाएंगे हम. फिर उसके बाद कुछ करना नहीं है.
Right.
And I don't know. It wasn't my maturity or anything else, but I told him, let's get there. We'll talk about it when we get there. We got there very quickly, and he was hungry for more.
Sorry?
He was hungry for more.
Yeah.
I told him, cost at roughly 5.5 lakhs, 10 lakh rupees, all good, sorted. I know there is a nice place next to my house, good office, we can move there. I said, you know what, एक महीना और वेट करते हैं. I think ये 1-2 क्लोज होता है, तो हम कोशिश करते हैं 20-25 पे पहुंचने का. And then we think about, where we move offices. It took us a while. The early thing plateaued a bit. It took us a while to get to 25 lakhs. When he got there, and when I got there, it was no longer fun. That money didn't even matter. Technically, we were making more than we were spending. Technically. But that money wasn't exciting. And all of this would have happened in the first year or so, right? Less than that much time from our first customer. I think it's largely your DNA of what you feel good about and what you're happy with. Personally, I was never happy with that number. Personally, I'm not even happy with what we make now, right? So it's that sense of unhappiness, and I don't know when it is going to end. Today, I have this dream of saying $100 million, $100 million. गलती से अगर हम वहाँ पहुँच गए, तो possibly I'll be unhappy even then, right?
अभी 2 और 0 लगने हैं, sir.
लगना चाहिए, right? So I think it's largely your own DNA. It doesn't really matter. If we had to be okay being profitable, I think वो 5 लाख का number बहुत अच्छा था. Your cost were 2.5 lakhs, you're making 5 lakh rupees, you could have continued to grow that nice cute little thing, and you could have continued to make it in a nice small business, right? But that's not what you wanted to do in the very first place. The 100 million number would have possibly come in over a period of time to set that benchmark for your own self. Every time you can't keep saying, okay, let's make more. What is more? Right? So when it is about me, it doesn't matter what number it is. But when it is about an organization which runs into hundreds of people, then you set that goal for everybody. Say, this is where we want to be. This is where we are. Let's find a way to get there. Having those numbers, they help. Now, they could be fictitious. They could be based on your own self-assessment. No matter what it is, there is always a need to have that number in a business.
But when you get to that number, do you realize that we have arrived? That time you are just, boss, we are chasing that. We never knew this.
Get to that number, uske beech mein, when you are going towards that number, your numbers change again.
Yeah.
You forget, it just keeps changing. I remember Dhruvil, so Dhruvil is the other founder. We always discuss कि starting में करते थे, अरे 20 million का revenue पहुंचना चाहिए. And then we see companies from India, Fresh Desk, okay, they are selling globally, so 200-300 million valuation, उस पे इतना revenue है, so इतना होना चाहिए. Now more recently, Fleetmatics, which is again into logistics, similar space to us, they just got acquired for $2 billion. And we were like, हम लोग बहुत छोटा सोच रहे हैं, I think we need to think big. So the numbers keep on changing because as you see the market, you see more opportunities, you see more penetration into clients, the numbers always keep on changing.
Correct.
And it's always goes upwards.
So Manisha, I'm just speaking on Avlesh's point of, the mid-market space has a lot of freemium kind of business, which is not worthy for a lot of people. But I think when you're doing the enterprise sales, you also have those clients who ask you for free pilots, right? I'm sure, Avlesh, I'm sure you also face that, right? I mean, I sell like celebrity marketing and, you have to pay celebrities to, whatever, tweet and Instagram and clients say, yaar, free mein kara ke do, try kare pilot ke liye. I'm like, sir, product ho to free mein de de, celebrity to free mein nahi de sakte. So Indian enterprises are, very used to asking that. Anand in the morning also shared that, it's a habit. So I think what was a challenge there in the mid-market segment is equally a different form of challenge here with these requests. How do you tackle that?
Two very big challenges with working with Indian enterprises, Lalaji mentality is one we were just discussing half an hour back. Ki even HubSpot has feet on street in India. Be it Oracle, SAP, all these guys have sales people in India. It's not like bas SaaS ke naam pe subscription model dal diya and people will buy from you. So that is one big challenge. What the approach that we took, first of all, analytics is something which hardly any people, any companies understand in India. And both log analytics ke naam pe they sell bar graphs and pie charts, right? That is not the real analytics. So a simple, when we started, it was very difficult for us to even talk to customers on what we are actually doing. We did few exercises like, so we were doing real-time tracking, and we went to FedEx and we just spotted few hardware like vehicle trackers and remote trackers in their packages, and we were sending those packages from one friend to another. And that's when we actually saw the loopholes. So the kind of sales we do is always backed up with data. So this was first initial clients. Of course, you cannot, this is not scalable. You cannot go and do this with the with all your clients. But just to achieve first few clients, we implemented different strategies on how can we actually use data to sell to our clients itself.
Okay.
That is one thing which helped us. But again, sales cycles in India is really very long. And especially enterprises, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So our focus is completely, how can we actually build a sexy product which can actually decrease the sales cycle, and it's a, the product runs on itself.
Okay. So I asked this question in the morning to the panel as well, awesome founders, all from Bombay, build their products here out of Bombay. Like we saw a lot of other panelists during the day. Why do people go away from Bombay, and what made you stick here? Sir, what happened to the Bangalore dream that every tech company chases?
No, I never had a Bangalore dream.
No, you didn't have, but...
I don't know why people move. I think tech talent is surely a reason. यहाँ पे नहीं होता है. It's very limited pool, and because there are, back in those days, housing made it difficult for a lot of people like us also. We would hire a fresh grad for 9 to 10 lakhs, which in our own estimation used to be very high. But we used to technically throw money, only to learn a week later that the guy has been thrown more money at by the folks, by the kinds of housing. So that market made it even more difficult, and that was probably the time when a lot of people decided to move on, including some of the acquaintances I know. We stuck, I think companies which have, which are not very manpower intensive, right? We still have a lot of leverage to be here. Companies which are more media, finance heavy, which is their target audience, they'll continue to be continue to have that leverage here. Cost and everything, yes, I understand, but for us, we've been here. I don't see any immediate reason as to why we'll be moving out. Tech has been a challenge, but thankfully we don't have a huge tech team. Even as of date, it's roughly 36 people in tech plus a few in design, makes it 45. Been able to kind of scale to that size, and I don't think we're adding another 100, right? So in that department. So until that happens, until the day that is the mandate, I don't see a reason. If that is a mandate, if I had to add 100 people tomorrow in my tech team, I seriously don't have an answer how to do it here. I don't even know if Bangalore is an answer, but Bombay is surely not an answer.
I think if you move to Bangalore, the biggest challenge is attrition. At least Bombay mein utni companies to nahi hai, you get options to switch. In Bangalore, it's even worse. So the cost of wrong hire is more than...
I think I've never heard that perspective before. You don't move because options come ho jate hain.
Blessing in disguise.
I mean, that's true. The other thing that I feel is WhatsApp required like 40 engineers to build WhatsApp and that many users. I mean, company like ours would need like 10 engineers. Is it so difficult to find 10 engineers? I don't think so. And we never grew beyond like, having a team of more than 13, 14 engineers. We never felt the need. The second thing, of course, was free housing.
You should ask Flipkart for what their like 1,000 engineers are doing there.
I don't know. I mean, but I mean, free food, free car, free housing, all were
Wi-Fi.
the privileges
Wi-Fi.
of Bombay. Yeah, Wi-Fi, right? And sometimes beer ke liye paisa papa dete the. Those are the privileges you can get when you are in Bombay. and
Unless
not.
Papa also shifts to Bangalore, it's
हाँ मतलब no but no.
Chances come.
No, jokes apart, I think if you need a team of 15 people, can you not find 15 good engineers in Bombay? I don't think so. It's more not about, I mean, of course, the market was too bad last year. I think things have improved now. People have become saner. Recently, our tech lead, after the acquisition, we spoke to him, right? And we said that, we all feel that you need a raise. What's your number? So I asked him a number and I was shocked. I was like, यार मैं तो 6-7 लाख इससे ज़्यादा सोच रहा था, तू 6 लाख कम बोल रहा है. So he told me, if I get paid so much, with that I don't deserve according to him, I'll be the first one to be kicked out when you are, cost cutting.
He'll be
I want to
unemployable,
safe.
yaar.
I want to be safe. This happened as recent as 2
Lavin,
months.
you need the number of the guy.
No यार, मतलब 1 महीने की सैलरी लगेगी. जब cost cutting करेंगे तब.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was a pleasure. And I think we'll just take 2 questions. Our next speaker is here. Show of hands, we'll pass you the mic and 2 questions for the panelists. Can we get the mic across? Anybody here to pass the mic? Or have all volunteers occupied seats to make them appear full? Bol de yaar.
अरे ऐसे ही आ जाएगा. Speak.
Okay, Abhishek, just share your question. Go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, so
So basically, he's asking, Alvesh, are you being a hypocrite?
I was actually about to summarize it. Thank you for doing it. Okay, so on the books, we made some profits in the first year because of by virtue of what we're doing. Second year we made losses. Third year we made losses. This last year we recorded profit. This year we're recording a massive profit, right? Now, as I said, none of this was planned, and none of this was actually the game plan to say, I need X amount of profit on my books, and this is how it should look like at the end of the year. Never done it that way. To have that confidence on whether you will be able to make profit or not, it comes from scale. If your business continues to get more adoption, even though you may be losing money on per customer, or your payback periods may be very high. See, in B2B, which is where all my experience in making money is, B2C, I lost money, right? So, a lot of these factors come into picture, right? So you may actually be losing money in a SaaS business because of the churn issue. You may have a very high churn rate. Churn rate is a beast. It kills you, by the way, if you're not very particular about churn in your business. The good part is that you'll continue to get new signups, right? If you continue to get new signups, churn is a solvable problem. It's largely because of the product. It's partly because of your customer experience, maybe because of your onboarding, maybe because of post-sales support, and so on and so forth. To me, all of those are fixable issues, which we have over a period of time. Knowing, and our churn was very high back in those days, very, very high. But knowing that I have a constant stream of people who continue to sign up for my product without having to spend on them, it brings in the confidence that you can solve this problem. I mean, you define what your problem today is versus what tomorrow is. But as I said, churn to a large extent, if that's the key reason why you're not making money on each customer, it's solvable. For products which have a lot of inherent demand, where you have a demand issue, right? You don't have too many people coming to you in a long tail mid-market business. You don't have enough inbounds. You have a larger issue. You have a much bigger issue because that caps you on the market that you're catering to. right? So for me, the reason why I did not worry about profitability way early in this business, and I don't even worry about now, is because there is a lot of latent and inherent demand that I keep seeing. I keep seeing signups even now. I keep seeing a lot of inbound leads. We have no outbound in the business. We don't do outbounds even today, by the way. All the business is built on inbound, which is people come to you and ask for the product, or they sign up, or they submit themselves as a lead. When you have that in the business, profitability is easy. It's way more easier. When that's not the case, then unit economics matter. Then, I spend $10,000 on acquiring a customer, only if my payback period is 4 months, 5 months, right? And if you're lucky, a month. So depends on which side you're on and what kind of business it is.
One last question. Just introduce yourself and please share your question.
I heard that the sales cycle you had mentioned is about 6 to 7 months in B2B. Can you just name 2-3 factors, top 3 factors which were contributing to this long cycle?
Top 3 factors contributing to the 6 to 7 month sales cycle.
Sure.
The psyche of the Indian customer.
Thank you.
The wallet of the Indian customer. And again, the psyche.
And so yeah, psyche of the Indian customer is the biggest factor contributing to this long sales cycle. And second is, the education on the product. That is another thing which is fixable, but psyche of Indian customer, it's a very, very hard problem to fix. You just have to find ways on how you can actually make it shorter rather than fixing their psychologies of Indian customers.
Did you hear the rubber stamp process in the morning? From the purchase order to vendor empanelment to invoice, then hard copy, then rubber stamp is missing. So that also.
Broker, exactly.
Oh yeah. Trust me, we didn't receive your hard copy of the
when
invoice.
It goes to the procurement guy. That's when it gets stuck.
We actually sell to, we've sold in 40 odd countries or so, 45 odd countries. Different currencies and God knows what not, complexities on vendor empanelment and invoicing and everywhere, everything else. But everywhere else, right, outside of India and a bit of Southeast Asia, people know what they're talking to you about, right? So when they say, "Tumhara vendor registration nahi hua hai," it's a fact, right? So "Tumhara vendor registration nahi hua hai, chalo abhi karte hain." That may still delay your payment, right? By the time you get registered and the PO gets issued, blah blah, it takes your time. It causes frustration, which is absolutely okay, because you know that they stick to a process. They have a process and you have to go by it. Perfectly okay. यहाँ पे गेम थोड़ा डिफरेंट है. सॉफ्ट कॉपी गया, उसका कोई एक्नॉलेजमेंट नहीं आया, कभी उसने हाँ नहीं बोला, कभी ना नहीं बोला, वो सब हो गया. वो सब कुछ चालू है. Everything is happening and the invoices have not been acknowledged. Only when your billing guy, sends a follow on saying sir payment overdue हो गया, तो भी रिप्लाई नहीं आया. उसके बाद बिलिंग वाले को, प्रोडक्ट वाले को इन्वॉल्व करना पड़ता है. तो अपने फाइनेंस वाले को नज करो बिकॉज ही इज नॉट रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू माई ईमेल्स. तब वो एक्नॉलेज करता है पहली बार, ओके वी हैव रिसीव्ड दैट इनवॉइस बट आवर पेमेंट टर्म्स आर 60 days, सो विच मीन्स हम 60 days बाद पे करेंगे. बोला अरे नहीं, हमारे अग्रीमेंट में इट्स नेट 15, सो यू आर सपोज टू पे, इट्स आउटस्टैंडिंग. कौन सा अग्रीमेंट
सर? बट मेरा पीओ में तो 60 लिखा था.
नहीं, पीओ में भी नहीं लिखा था, कहीं नहीं लिखा था. उसके बाद भी है क्योंकि ये तो मेरी कंपनी पॉलिसी है. तो अग्रीमेंट कहाँ गया? वो तो ठीक है, वो किसी ने कर दिया होगा साइन, मैंने थोड़ी किया है. तो हमारा तो 60 days ही है, तो अभी आया है उसके 60 days बाद. ओके दैट्स इवन फाइन. 60 days के थोड़े दिन पहले न जाएगा, आपने तो हार्ड कॉपी भेजी नहीं, तो अभी हार्ड कॉपी मिलेगी उसके अगेन 15 दिन बाद, क्योंकि ये तो अभी मैं सबमिट करूंगा. बोले हार्ड कॉपी तो आपको हमने पहले ही भेजा था, आपको ये एड्रेस किया था. नहीं, मुझे नहीं मिली, लेकिन हमारे पास कुरियर एक्नॉलेजमेंट, I still don't have it. Okay. So you have to go through this cycle in every single invoice to the same customer. I can exactly tell you now. So one thing that I've figured now is when my cash flows are all sorted, I exactly know when is this guy going to pay. So when you have raised invoices, you have 100 invoices that you've raised today, I'll clearly tell you the payment timeline for this because I know their patterns now. Except for the fact when some companies vanish also. So वहाँ तो हम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते. Ask Me is a great example. Our money is gone, right? So our guys were following us. They've been a customer. Well, I have to say have been. They're still a customer. I don't know what will happen next. But last 6 महीने से हमारे payments नहीं आए. And finally, when the guys said, you know what? screw you guys, we are sending a legal notice. तो उनकी थोड़ी बैंड बजी. तो so what they did there, they've created this mass mailer of sorts. They've copied all their vendors, जिनका भी payment outstanding है. So I know all their vendors now. That includes us as well. And they've marked that to their investor with a stamped letter from Ask Me, Get It. It says, इन्होंने हमारे साथ cheating की है, तो आप पैसा इनसे मांगो. और ये लेटर है, हम आपको ऑथराइज करते हैं कि आप पैसा इनसे मांगो. And all the vendors have been listed in that email. That so much is due for this guy, and it has to be recovered from this guy. The other guy is saying, we'll sue you to just send this email. And all the vendors are having fun in that email conversation. So that's India for you. ये सब होता रहेगा. I think one thing that in our business we learned this very early was while this is nice, cute, good market to be in, it's not the ultimate market to be in, and we need to figure out more ways and more avenues to make money. Sooner in your business, the better. Thankfully for us, we have a lot of outward-facing business, but yeah, India is a very difficult country. Don't rely on it for any single thing, including payments. Let alone the sales cycle. That's the easiest of the lot. You can fix that. You can't fix their payment cycles. So it's very hard.
But the biggest advantage you have SaaS business is just cut the cord. That's what we do. We just cut the cord. If your product is an aspirin to them, they will pay. If it's a vitamin, they'll not pay.
So I have something to add here. And that happened to us all the time, which was the moment you start asking for money, they would want to shut it. And they would try all the arm twisting possible. They would ask for discounts. They would say that, reduce the price, X, Y, Z. तो जब कभी-कभी तो जब 2,500-3,000 टिकट साइज था, तब ऐसा लगता था यार कि जाके पैसा लाने में ज़्यादा खर्चा है ये करने से. And you will have countless number of calls, frustration. And in a SaaS business in India, and we are just India, SME, so the worst combination possible in the world, right? SaaS, India, SME, कुछ नहीं होगा आपका. तो cash flow and revenue are two different things. मतलब यार 25 लाख का MRR होगा, 12 लाख लाते लाते 27 दिन खून निकल रहा है, 3 दिन PMS कर रहे हो. So मतलब ये तो रोज का हो गया था. So we had an accountant and a guy to just keep collecting money. So I think psyche of the Indian customer as well as specifically SME is so bad that your cost per acquisitions or getting the money from them is a pain. It's a pain. मतलब, I can't name it, right? But every time we have to take payments, it's a very large ticket size client, 70 odd outlets with us. I have to go to Delhi to get payments from them. मतलब, they want to meet me every time. I don't know. मतलब मेरी तो शक्ल भी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, फिर भी बुलाते हैं.
So the last week की बात है. It's a very fresh story that I have to share. Last week कुछ तो ध्रुवल को he was like I want to get all my payments ये week में कुछ भी हो जाए. 1 week all the operations managers and business development guys did full bhaval with Indian clients, and एक हफ्ते में जो 6 महीने से payments नहीं आ रही थी, एक हफ्ते में they collected some 75 lakhs का payment. So till you don't do bhaval, you are not going to get automated payments or cut the cord. That's the best way. That's the best thing that we have learned. And we do that. If it's SME, like not a very big enterprise, just cut the cord.
Okay. I think I'll just wrap up this session now because else we will face a churn on our next speaker.
Probably this is an important question.
Sir, we'll